Hi guys, good evening. Welcome to another session of CAT 16 night classes. As has been the norm, our process today is going to be very simple. I'm expecting that most of you all who've joined us for the session today have gone through our MOD exercises for number systems, and have also gone through the ebook for number systems, the pages that had been mentioned to you. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through the basics of number systems today. The session for today, as has been pointed out earlier in your session plan, is QA 11, which is numbers 1. The objective is going to be very simple. We'll most probably be looking at most of the classification of numbers and so on and so forth. My objective is simple. I want to give you the smartest and the easiest way of solving questions while ensuring that your basics are in place. So let's get cracking on the first question itself. The first question for today is based on classification of numbers. If the sum of n consecutive integers is 0, then which of the following statements must be true? So sum of n consecutive integers is 0. Now I know that the sum of the first n natural numbers is n into n plus 1 by 2. The question here, however, is on n consecutive integers. Now, if we just think of n consecutive integers, if all integers are going to be natural numbers, that means I'm going to add 1, 2, 3 and so on and so forth, then my sum can never be 0. For sum of certain number of consecutive numbers to be 0, I have to ensure that if I have 1, then I also have minus 1. If I have 2, then I also have minus 2. Why? Because they are consecutive numbers. Similarly, if I have 3, then I also have minus 3. Thus, at any point in time, if I have to write down certain number of consecutive numbers such that the sum is 0, I can start from a number which is minus n, go on to minus n plus 1, and I have to continue till n. One interesting thing that you will notice here is that 0 also has to be a part of these n consecutive natural numbers. So if I start at minus n and I end at plus n, so hypothetically, say I start at minus 5 and I end at plus 5, how many numbers is that? That is 5 numbers here, 10, and a number 0 in between, so that's an 11th number. Thus at any point in time I see that n has to be an odd number. Also, one interesting thing is, if I am going from minus n to n, the average is always going to be 0. Thus the average of the numbers is also 0. Now, one thing is very clear, if n is an odd number, it can never be an even number. Hence, 1 is not a possibility. It can only be either 2 or 3. Actually, it has to be both of them. Thus, the answer here is option number 4, 2 and 3. I hope everybody understood this. If there is any question, then could you please ask me that? Well, the first question I see here is, how many questions from number systems were asked in CAT 15? Yep, an interesting question because it also tells you how important this topic is. Well, on an average, what we see is roughly out of 34 questions that are asked, you can easily expect about 5 to 7 questions from number system. So you can say it will be roughly around 15 to 20% of the paper. Thus it becomes a very important topic, and generally the question on number systems aren't very difficult. They are easy and can be done logically. Next question here is from Rajiv, who's asked me, is there an easier method to solve this question? Okay, so that's also an easy way of going about it. Easier question? Well, right now you saw me going from minus n to n. So the easiest way of solving questions on number system is just take an example. So for example, I could have stated that the n consecutive numbers are minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2. Just write these down. Now, so what is the value of n here? N is 5. That means it's not even, it's odd. So 1 is out. 1 is out of the picture. 2 is correct. The average is minus 2 plus minus 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 2 by 5, which is 0. That means 3 is in. So once again, 2 and 3, and the answer would have been option 4. The easiest method of going about is just take an example and solve it. Question, what should I do before the next class? Rajiv will surely be getting into that once the session for today is over. However, you can also go through the session plan that has been shared with you earlier, and you'll know that you need to go through MOD topics and topics in number system in your ebooks before you enter the next class. Okay, so let us go to the next question here. The next question that we talk about is also on number systems. And here we see that we are talking about 2.521, 451, 451, 45 into a fraction. You know, one very interesting thing here, 451, 451 is being repeated. That means all I'm concerned about is here. So if x is 2.521451, I can say that 10, 100, 1000. So 1000x is 2521.451, and that recurs. Then I go another 3 places, so that is 1000 and 3. So 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh is 2521.451, which recurs. So what you get here is you have 10 lakh, right? And you have 1000. So if I subtract 1000 from 10 lakh, what will that be? That will be 9,90,000. Absolutely correct. No, because it's 1000. Correct. Good. It's 9,99,000. X is equal to. So I have 2521451, and here we have 2521. So we just subtract. This is 0, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I carry it 4, 9, and this becomes 1. This becomes 10. So that's 8. So that's 1, 5, 2. So that means 2518930. 2518930. So 2518930. Now another thing to note here is that this 1x can actually be cancelled. So I'll get x is equal to 251893, 251893 upon 99900, 251893 upon 99900. So that's an easy way of going about it. There's also a shortened method, and we'll get into that in the next question.